Landforms of the world. The land covering the Earth's surface is not uniform. In some places it rises high, while at other places it is flat. Different landforms are formed by various processes that takes place on the surface of the Earth and deep inside. There are three main landforms. These are mountains, plateaus and plains. Mountains, valleys and passes. Mountains and hills are rocky masses of land that rise higher than the surroundings. The main difference between mountains and hills is that mountains have very steep slopes and high peaks. Hills are smaller and lower. Mountains usually occur in long rows called mountain ranges. The Himalayas in the north of India is the highest mountain range in the world. Mount Everest, the highest mountain peak in the world, is located in the Himalayas in Nepal. Some mountains are formed when two large land masses crash against each other. They are called fold mountains. The Himalayas, the Rockies in North America, and the Alps in Europe are fold mountains. Some mountains are formed when molten rock from deep inside the earth rises to the surface, forming a volcano. They are called volcanic mountains. Mount Fuji in Japan and Mount Vesuvius in Italy are volcanic mountains. Another kind of mountains are block mountains formed by splitting and sliding of large blocks of land. Examples are Sierra Nevada Mountains in the USA and Black Forest Mountains in Germany. High mountain ranges have glaciers or slow-moving rivers of ice. Large rivers originate from these glaciers. Low land between hills or mountains is called a valley. Valleys are normally formed by glaciers or rivers wearing away rocks on mountains. A number of valleys therefore have rivers flowing through them. Famous valleys in India are the Kashmir Valley and the Brahmaputra Valley. Mountains have low, narrow, natural gaps called passes. People cross the mountains through these passes. The Khyber Pass is in the Himalayas. Plateaus. A large area of land that is higher than the surroundings and more or less flat at the top is known as the plateau. It is also called tableland. Some plateaus of the world extend over thousands of kilometers. The Deccan Plateau in South India covers almost the entire Indian peninsula. The Tibetan Plateau in the Himalayas is the highest in the world. It rises 15,000 feet above sea level and is known as the roof of the world. The Columbia and the Colorado Plateaus are in USA. Plains. Plains are flat lands with gentle slopes. Rivers flowing through plains bring fertile soil and crop yields are good. Plains are therefore the most thickly populated in the world. The northern plain of India and the prairies of USA produce large amount of wheat and other grains. Deserts. Deserts are large, extremely dry areas of land. There is very little rainfall and very few plants grow in deserts. Desert soil is either sandy or stony. The land is mostly plain, but there are mountains also. Deserts have extreme temperatures. In summers, the days are very hot and the nights are cool. In winters, the days are cool and the nights are very cold. The important deserts of the world. The Sahara Desert in North Africa. It is the biggest desert in the world. The Kalahari Desert in Southern Africa. The Atacama Desert in South America. The Thar Desert in India. Coast, peninsulas, bays and islands. A place where land meets the sea is called a coast. Some coasts are sandy and straight. Others are rocky. A land mass which projects into the sea and is surrounded by water on three sides is called a peninsula. The southern part of a country is a peninsula. The Arabian Peninsula is the largest in the world. The tip of a peninsula is called a cape. The southernmost tip of the Indian Peninsula is called the Cape Comorin. A bay is a water body running into land and surrounded on three sides by land. The Bay of Bengal is an example. An island is a land mass surrounded on all sides by water. Sri Lanka is an island. Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Bay of Bengal is a group of islands which are a part of India. Australia is the world's largest island. A strait is a narrow passage of water connecting two seas or two large areas of water. An example is the Park Strait that lies between India and Sri Lanka. An isthmus is a narrow neck of land connecting two large land areas. The Isthmus of Panama connects North and South America. Rivers. Long streams of water are called rivers. Many rivers start in the mountains from melting snow in glaciers. They have water throughout the year and are called perennial rivers. Most rivers in North India are perennial rivers. In South India, rivers are formed by rainwater. They do not have water throughout the year. Such rivers are called non-perennial. Rivers ultimately flow into the sea. A river goes through three stages: the mountain stage, the plain stage and the delta stage. In the mountain stage, several smaller rivers join the main river. They are called tributaries of the main river. As the river comes down to the plains, its speed slows down and it has a large volume of water lower down before entering the sea. The river becomes very slow. It carries a lot of sediment. This keeps getting deposited on the way and causes the river to break up into channels or distributaries. These spread out like a triangle before falling into the sea. Such a region is called a delta. The delta made by the Brahmaputra and Ganga is the largest in the world. Some rivers do not break up to form deltas when they flow into the sea. Instead, they widen out. A wide area of water where a river flows into the sea is called estuary. For example, the river Thames in London forms an estuary. The Nile in Egypt is the longest river in the world. Some other important rivers are the Mississippi in USA, the Congo in Africa, and the Ganga or Ganges in India. We find in history that the great civilizations have always developed along rivers, as the rivers provide water for drinking, domestic and agriculture purposes.